Every life tells a story. Join Frank Julian as he shares his one chapter at a time from Story of a Soul 2, releasing every Wednesday.
The Story of a Soul 2 by Frank Julian with Sean O'Neill, narrated by Frank Julian. Chapter 25, Ensure for Africa. There have been so many times when Fawn should have died but didn't. Something always rescued it in the nick of time. I kept my prayer private. No one knew the passion developing in me. I now believe that it was the fulfillment in my life of Ephesians 2, verse 10, which says, "We are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God has before ordained that we should walk in them." This good work of feeding the sick of the world has been created for me to do before the foundation of the world in Christ. It is humbling. I encourage you to seek out your destiny because you also are created to do the plan of God while you are on this earth. I only understood this as it unfolded. After the story ran in the newspaper, people began to spontaneously drop off Ensure at the church and send donations to the church for this project. Deep in my heart, I felt that this was bigger than an individual church and wanted to separate it from the church as it grew. I wanted to work with all the sick of the world. Our first shipment was made in July 2001. Somehow I learned how to ship this through a shipping company out at the airport. They sent a truck to pick it up, and we had a celebration in the parking lot that day. The newspaper added fuel to the fire with another front-page story about our first shipment. The truck driver was deeply touched, and it touched us that it affected him so deeply. Because of this second article, a woman called me up and wanted to meet with me about all of this aid for Africa. Her name was Marion. As we talked, she informed me that she was a returned volunteer of the Peace Corps, having served as a teacher in Botswana. She loved Botswana and wanted to help me. She invited me to speak at the picnic of the returned Peace Corps workers, and I agreed. I had never done this before, but I simply went up to somebody, and they connected me to Marion. Soon I was allowed to speak, and I shared my desire to help with the AIDS crisis in Africa. After I spoke, a man came up to me. He was the mayor of a suburb of Detroit, Huntington Woods, and he said to me, "You should speak to George at World Medical Relief." I was not familiar with this wonderful operation that collected medical goods and recycled them for the third world countries. They were receiving cases of liquid nutrition from hospices. Loved ones would die, leaving 2 or 3 cases for the relative to dispose of. George said that we could have all the liquid nutrition they received, and they would store it for us. Also, we could set up shipping from there too. I was so grateful. We signed an agreement and called it Ensure for Africa.
Thank you for listening. Join Frank Julian every Wednesday for a new chapter of Story of a Soul 2. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter.